A very good morning to all our Sports Today family members. We may be having a break from Indian cricket for 1 month. Remember, after the World Test Championship, India's next major assignment is on July 12th onwards when they take on West Indies for 2 tests, 3 ODIs and 5 T20Is. After that, the calendar is jam-packed with the Asia Cup and also the World Cup in the subsequent months. But it is on the question of the West Indies tour where India will have to press the reset button. Because remember, there are a lot of team talks about change in leadership, change in personnel. What is going to be the current situation when India head into this new cycle? Remember, 2023, the first series for this new cycle for India is going to be the West Indies tour of 2 tests. Now, according to reports in some various media organizations, one individual's future is very, very uncertain. And it is this man, Tejaswin Pujara. Remember, Tejaswin Pujara made a comeback to the Indian cricket team for the tour of England after having a wonderful county stint. He impressed on the tour of Bangladesh with a century, but if you remove that century, his average in this entire cycle has been 26. And the worst part is, in the World Test Championship final, he had a horrible misjudgment and he played a very bad shot. India's wall was very, very creaky. Now, according to reports, Tejaswin Pujara might not be considered for the West Indies tour. If the squad announcement, which is most likely to take place in the next 2 weeks or so, when that happens, many sources in the BCCI have said that Tejaswin Pujara is not going to feature in the West Indies tour, which means in all but certain this is the last stage in Tejaswin Pujara's career, because India after the West Indies tour do not play any tests until December when they go to South Africa. So, Tejaswin Pujara, if he is not considered for the West Indies tour, then I guess the rope has run out. It is bye-bye to Tejaswin Pujara then, unfortunately. It will be a very sad way for him to go, because remember, for 13 years he has been giving great service to Indian cricket, but unfortunately towards this last couple of years he really has struggled. Made a comeback, but even on his comeback he has not set the stage on fire. So Tejaswin Pujara is all but certain that he will not be picked for the West Indies tour, because his performances have not lived up to the hype and India might want to look ahead into the future for this new cycle. Remember, after July, the next test series is in December. Will Tejaswin Pujara get a long rope? Seems very unlikely at this point. You wanted change in personnel? Maybe it is not happening, because in the same report, if you have to look at it, Rohit Sharma will captain the team for the Windies tour. Tests, ODIs, maybe not in the T20s because Hardik Pandya will be your captain then. ODIs and tests, Rohit Sharma is all set to continue as the skipper. But whether he continues that after the ODI World Cup and in the December tour of South Africa, that call will be taken afterwards. Because now the BCCI is not too keen on change with just 4 months to go for the World Cup. If a change happens now, it can throw everything into chaos. So Rohit Sharma is all set to captain the test and the ODI series in the West Indies. Hardik Pandya will captain the 5-match T20I series. What about Ajinkya Rahane? Remember, Rahane came to the ICC World Test Championship final on the back of some wonderful performances in the domestic circuit as well as in the IPL for Chennai Super Kings. He could make that mental adjustment from T20s to tests, and it was evident. He became the highest run getter for India in the match, 135 runs. No one even comes close. So, Rahane is all set to get a test run in the Windies series, but whether he features in the South Africa tour in December, that will be taken later. Will that be a springboard for him for a ODI call-up? Maybe not, because India's ODI squad looks a lot more settled than the test or the T20I squad. So, major developments if you have to look at it for the West Indies series in a nutshell, Tejaswin Pujara might not make it. Rohit Sharma and Ajinkya Rahane. Rohit Sharma will continue as captain. Rahane will get another opportunity after his WTC final heroics. But one particular player has left everyone baffled by his decision. Kishan, perhaps touted to be the next in line in case KS Bharat does not play. He has decided to skip the Duleep Trophy altogether. Abhimanyu Ishwaran has been made the captain of East Zone, and the selectors, they themselves were baffled when Kishan made the decision that he is not going to play the Duleep Trophy. So, if Kishan is not playing the Duleep Trophy, is he going to be considered for the West Indies tour? Because remember, there is a lot of call that KS Bharat's batting has not been impressive. But Kishan's decision to not play the Duleep Trophy, is it an injury? Is it some issue? What is it? Kishan has not communicated to the selectors. Why? Either you are not taking the Duleep Trophy seriously, or you are just not having the chances enough to ensure that you get into the Indian cricket team. Remember, Kishan was on standby for the ICC WTC final. He was there in England, but KS Bharat got the nod. Now, his decision to not play the Duleep Trophy seems very, very weird, and it could be a decision that backfires because he's not even communicated it to the selectors. Why is he not playing? The Ashes is going to begin from June 16. That is the major series that we have lined up at this point in time. It's the era of baseball. For the first time, England are going to use their new revolutionary baseball technique against an attack that might potentially counter baseball. Remember, Australia versus England, it's the ultimate test series if you look at it. 140 plus years of history. On top of that, Australia will be aiming to end 22 years of pain in England. They have not won a series in England since 2001. On the other hand, England have not held the Ashes ever since 2015. 8 years. They will want to break that jinx as well. But remember, looking at the combination, looking at the way how England are playing, you would back them to be the favourites in this Ashes contest. But they are facing the best bowling lineup in this current cycle when it comes to countering baseball. And this Ashes series is the first series of this new 23-25 cycle. It started the same way in 2019-21, the 5-test series, but this 5-test series will be condensed in just 46 days. June 16th, you are starting with the first test. By July 31, you are ending the Ashes. Because after that, in August, you have a dedicated window for the 100. So that is why England and Australia are all set to lock horns in the Ashes. 145 plus years of history, and it is going to be a very, very enthralling series to say the least. It's a split verdict. McGrath has said final in favor of Australia, but with the current England setup in baseball, that might not happen. Even here in Sports Today, we were split as to who will be the favourites, England or Australia. It's going to be a very epic series indeed. On that Ashes note, the England team announced their 11 for the first test in Edgbaston. It's Zach Crawley, Ben Duckett, Joe Root, Harry Brook, Johnny Bairstow. But look at the bowling combination if you look at it. Moeen Ali, Ollie Robinson, Stuart Broad and James Anderson. So, are you only going to rely upon 5 bowlers? Stokes, Moeen Ali, Ollie Robinson, James Anderson and Stuart Broad? That seems to be a bit of a risk because who are you leaving out? Mark Wood. And if you just look back 2 years in the Hobart test, the last Ashes test that happened, Mark Wood took 6 for 37. Why would you want to leave someone with raw pace out and someone who's troubled Australia in the past? It's a very, very bold, risky call that England have taken. Because remember, with Jack Leach's absence, the spin department looks weak and Moeen coming back seems like desperation for England rather than a tactical, calculated move. Talking about spinners, Ravichandran Ashwin, his non-inclusion in the ICC WTC final was really criticized by many sections. Rohit Sharma bore the brunt of not playing Ravichandran Ashwin. But remember, when there is even 30 minutes of cloud cover, the Indian team management do not want to play Ravichandran Ashwin in overseas conditions, especially in England. Now, after the heartbreak of the World Test Championship final, he immediately took a flight from Manchester. He came to Chennai. Then he went to Coimbatore. In Coimbatore, he played the Tamil Nadu Premier League encounter for the Dindigul Dragons against Trichy. Now, what happened in that? Ashwin bowled a delivery to Rajkumar, and initially the batter was given out, but he reviewed. The decision was overturned. Ashwin was surprised. He decided to challenge the overturn. So there was a double review, a review of a review in that game. You talk about something out of the box, Ash Anna can really do it, because he can retire out himself for the team's sake. He can sit down in conditions which suit him, but because of clouds he can be denied. Now in the Tamil Nadu Premier League, Ash Anna can review a review. It didn't go in his favour, that's a different thing. But 4 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 26 ensured that the Dindigul Dragons continued their winning run and Trichy faced the brunt of it. So Ash Anna, salute to him, his review of a review. Is there anything that he cannot do? Moving our attention to other sports now, and in the Indonesia Open Badminton Super 100 tournament, Lakshya Sen unfortunately has been eliminated because it was an all-Indian 4th round and it was Kidambi Srikanth who defeated him in straight games. At this point, while doing this morning wrap, PV Sindhu is facing off against her nemesis Tai Tzu Yin, and she's lost the first game 18-21. We will be doing a special mojo on that as well. So stay tuned to Sports Today for the update on what happens in the Sindhu Tai Tzu Yin encounter. If Sindhu gets eliminated, then only Kidambi Srikanth is there, and today's game also features Priyanshu Rajawat, the youngster, taking on Anthony Sindhu Ginting of Indonesia. So, Ginting versus Rajawat, that will be the next game, the last game for India today in the Indonesia Open. One hopes that the Indian contingent continues their dominant display in Indonesia. When it comes to squash, Joshna Chinnappa, Saurav Ghoshal, they hold the mantle and they continue to carry the sport in this decade as well. The ongoing Squash World Cup in Chennai has seen India defeat South Africa, and they are now making headway into the next stage of this tournament. Remember, the Squash World Cup is one of the most prestigious tournaments that's there, in addition to its inclusion in certain multi-nation tournaments as well. The World Cup is very, very important for Indian squash, because if they put in a great performance, the sport will have some relevance. And Saurav Ghoshal and Joshna Chinnappa have been doing it for close to a decade now. So, squash, we hope that the Indian contingent puts on a great display. Tejaswin Shankar. We all know him as the high jumper who secured the gold medal in the Commonwealth Games. But remember, Tejaswin Shankar is coming to Bhubaneswar for the inter-athletics meet. But he's not going to be in the high jump discipline. He is going to be a decathlete. What does that mean? 10 different sports. He's going to participate in 10 different sports. The combined points that he accumulates in the decathlon ensures that he wins it. Now, Tejaswin Shankar, how much time do you think it would have taken from him to come from Mumbai to Bhubaneswar? Couple of hours? No. It took him 4 days. Why? Did he come by train? No. He was waiting for his luggage. What was the luggage? The pole vault. Remember, the pole vault is one of the events in the decathlon, and because customs and also because the scanning machines were not big enough to ensure that his pole vaults could be scanned, he had to wait for 4 days. How much of administrative delay, how much of technological delay will all our sportsmen will have to endure is a different kettle of fish altogether. It can happen only in India, where a sportsman's able ally, which is his major playing weapon, that gets delayed for 4 days. Tejaswin Shankar has not gotten off to a great start when it comes to this, but he hopes that in the interstate meet that is there in Bhubaneswar, that will be very, very important for him. So, it has been an action-packed morning wrap. We are building up to the Ashes. There's also going to be a lot of updates from the Indonesia Open, plus other sports. You'll also get to see something on cycling, because remember, cycling when it comes to India has done a major, major jump. So, Stay tuned for all those updates. We'll be back with more such interesting news and stories. Tap that bell icon so you know when we go live, and don't forget we are on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. From me, Siddharth Vishwanathan here, it's bye-bye.